Hello, today I'm back to film it on my phone because it is so wet and so foggy out here. I just don't want to get that dampness into the camera because I don't think it'll do it any good, and my phone I know can cope with it being very foggy. The world beyond our small holding has pretty much disappeared this morning, apart from being able to hear the traffic noise from the main road over there. In fact, even the far end of our homestead has disappeared. But as it's not actually raining, today was a really good day to get some jobs done, like cleaning out the duck house, which I've done, and this morning I want to tackle a fence problem. Well, it's not a problem, it's tweaking. A couple of months ago I put together the fence along here in front of the duck area, but it's just not quite right, so I want to fiddle with it a little bit this morning and just put it more how we want it. So I'm standing at the end of the fence now, and you can see it's a nearly straight line, and then there are these cross pieces that come out here to support it. The problem with it is it leaves quite a small space between the end of the elderberry there and the pathway, and as that elderberry tree grows, it's going to cover that space, which means every time we walk down there, we're going to be at risk of getting elderberry in the eye, and we don't want that. And equally, I don't particularly. Ducks are right next to me being silly here. Go on, off you go. We don't particularly want to be ducking under the elderberry all the time, or to be cutting it back. And so my plan is to take the long fence pallets and move them further across, about halfway across that supporting pallet, which will give us about an extra 2 feet of pathway. But it will still give me room to put a small hedge of some sort in here without encroaching onto the food forest too much. So that's the plan. Come on then, ducks. Good morning, good morning. You all right? You're all looking very splendid. One of the joys of only doing temporary fencing is that it gives us a chance to live with it for a little while, see how it works for us before we do anything more permanent. So I'm really pleased that was only tied up with a bit of baling twine and was simply cut down with a couple of snips from a pair of scissors. So I have now tied it with cable ties, and it's feeling quite secure. So if I move back, you can see the fence has gone from there to there, and it is just a couple of feet, but the difference that will make in terms of being able to walk around the elderberry tree is huge, and that's a good job to have done. Now the next thing I need to do is there is there is poultry fencing going along here as well, which was what was here when we first made the duck enclosure. So I need to get this up. I haven't been able to lift it until now because the grass was just so entangled through the bottom of it. But I can now lift that up. That will allow the ducks access to that extra 2 feet. But there is plastic on it, so I need to lift that plastic. I'm going to need to cut around it or do something clever with it so that they're not dibbling around on the plastic. Hello! You've got a lot to say. You have got a lot to say, young man. Yes, you have. It's less cold today. Is it a better day because it's less cold? What I'd forgotten about is that I have 2 very long hoses going from the water standpipe over there, about 40 feet over there. One going to the duck pond, the main duck pond, and one going up to the 2 small ponds up in the ducklings enclosure. And in my infinite wisdom, I have threaded those pipes through the gaps in the chicken netting, in that flexible poultry netting. So I'm now having to unthread them because I don't want to cut the netting to get it free, because it means we can't use it somewhere else. So I'm having to unthread them, and these hoses have been there for about 18 months now. And they're quite well embedded into the ground, and the grass has grown over the top of them, which is brilliant when it's frosty, because the ground insulates them and they still water still flows through them fairly freely. It's just making it a bit more of a job this morning than I had expected it to be. So I've got both the hoses out of the flexible poultry netting, taken the flexible poultry netting up, and I have moved it that way a little bit just to create a temporary gate. So the netting used to come along the front of that plastic and then across here, and I had a hook in this bit of wood and we used that as a gate, and I've now moved that netting to just back here. And again, it's just a hook in here which allows us to open and close it as a temporary gate until I make a gate to go either across this gap or across where this netting is now. Well, next task is to put these hoses back where they should be, which is behind the trampoline where the pond is. That hose needs to go into the pond, and the one that's curling up and over the fence there needs to go all the way back up to the ducklings' house, although I may leave that for now. Well, I'm jolly pleased to say that the new fence arrangement seems mutually acceptable. In fact, I think the ducks really like it. That's all from me today. I'm heading inside to get warm and dry again. If you're enjoying my vlogs, please like, comment, share on social media, and of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. And so, wherever you are in the world and whatever you've got planned for today, I hope there's something nice for you. And I also hope you can join me again tomorrow.